Hi, everybody. Welcome to our second interview with Matthew Greenwood of Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys.
Hi, Joe.
Um,
Thank you.
Nice to have you here again in this virtual space.
Good to be here.
I wish I would have been with you in the forest when you went for your walk this morning. That must have been amazing.
Oh, it's just stunning, just beautiful. Um, there's blackberries all on the bushes. You just, it's like paradise down there at the moment with all the blackberries and kangaroos and echidnas and koalas grunting in the background.
Sounds divine.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so good to be nurtured by nature, eh?
isn't it? Yeah, it's fantastic. Very lucky to be where I am.
Yeah, it is a beautiful place. I'm lucky to have visited you once there, as I feel blessed to live here on the farm too.
Oh, of
So
course,
nice.
yeah.
And I guess that's why we do what we do, to help people connect with nature and to know that it's there to help us recharge
Mm,
and to ground, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So, in our last interview, which is on YouTube and on the the Facebook Farm for Wellbeing page,
hmm.
as well as on Matthew's page on Facebook.
Yes.
Um, we spoke about the current energies that are happening and how some of that is manifesting into physical ailments.
Mm,
Matthew spoke to the changes in DNA that are happening, and also about how the galactic beings are being more present
yes.
and help in a very helpful way.
Mm,
Would you
yes,
say that's a
very
pretty
much.
close synopsis of last time?
It's a very good, very good version. Yes. Um, Look, it's as we go along, as this raising in frequency continues, which I think I did say last video that there's been a raising in frequency for the last 15 to 16 years, and that's what's driving the amount of spiritual growth that's going on the planet, which is massive. It's apparently it's past 50% of the planet is either involved in spiritual growth or opening up to the thought of that, which
Mm.
means people are in their thoughts are becoming far more expansive. And isn't just in Western culture,
Yeah.
it's in all cultures. So, um, of course, many cultures out there have their own version of spirituality, which probably relates to either their religion or to just their own personal beliefs. Um, but yeah, it's Westerners that are probably more in that disconnected state
Mm.
because of stress, because of the society we live in. Um, it's probably more impacting those people to really be more open. And this is the massive change that's going on. And but it's also pushing people's buttons a little because high frequency energy um, impacts low frequency energy, which relates to old emotions, old energy that we're hanging on to, and yeah, that high frequency energy, until we get accustomed to working with it, um, can impact us heavily. And this is why grounding is so important these days, because grounding is what uh, stabilizes our energy system. That and keeping our personal frequency high, which is what we're going to do now.
I look
So,
forward to revisiting it. I know you've taken us through it at the winter solstice last year,
yes, we did.
which was beautiful up under grandmother tree.
Mm.
But I need a reboot.
That's what I'm here for.
Fantastic. Um,
Is that a reboot up the tail or a reboot on the
well, through the chakras, which is what you're going to be talking to us about.
exactly. Yeah.
Let's go with
It's
that
all in the
one.
delivery, isn't
It
it?
is. And I will be firmly planted as I receive the
Beautiful.
reboot. Yeah. I
Cool.
look forward
Okay.
to, even though I'm sitting here in the hearth room in the Wellbeing
Yes.
Center, I'm sure that, um, yeah, I'll still feel the energy. So,
Excellent.
right, Matthew, well, over to you.
Thank you.
What's the lead in to this wonderful
All
practice you're
right.
going to be sharing?
So we're going to be accessing three different parts of the energy system. One is, well, actually four, I guess you could say. Breath work to start with. Then we'll be accessing the base chakra. Now, I think most people understand where the base chakra is. It's in the pelvic area, pointing straight down, and it connects us with the earth on a surface level. Then, because of everything that's going on, we actually need more than the base chakra these days. Um, so we have a string of chakras that go right down to the core of the earth. And we're going to be accessing, after the base chakra, the deepest one we have, which is our, well, what's commonly known as our Earth Chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one is deep down, but don't worry about distance. As soon as we bring that intention in, that's where our energy will go. The that's that will consist of the grounding, but then I'm going to take you into a space where you'll be able to actually raise your frequency. Um, Now, what we're going to be accessing is, I guess, bottom line is God force. So the energy of Creator, Great Spirit, whatever your belief system is on this, everyone's got their own version. And when most people think of Creator or God, they think of that outside of them, but it's actually within us.
Mm-hmm.
And we can access that God force, or in the books, the technical term for it is core star energy. So I might
Mm-hmm.
use that as a reference. Uh, and that is deep within our energy system, but I'll be walking you through it as we
Mm-hmm.
go. So just let's go. So let's
Mm-hmm.
start with, if you can just close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath, and also just get comfortable, feel right in your chair. Preferably don't lay down for this, because this is something that the body, as soon as you lay down and I start grounding you, most people actually start to fall asleep. So you lose
Mm-hmm.
the whole connection with the energy system. So sitting up is really great for this. It keeps us nice and open, conscious, but deep into what we're experiencing. So just to start with, nice, deep, full breaths. Roughly about 3 seconds with the breath in through the nose, and then roughly about 3 to 4 seconds breathing out through the mouth. Then pulling in again and out. But also, as you're breathing, know that you're not just breathing in oxygen. Yes, your lungs are taking in oxygen with that breath, but what follows through with the breath of oxygen is also taking in life force, which is what the chakras need for us to survive. We can't do without life force, just like oxygen. So as you breathe in, just imagine with every breath in, you're literally drawing in nice, clean, pure life force. And so after a few breaths, we're actually going to be able to utilize that life force in a much more dynamic way. So a couple more deep breaths. All right. With the next deep breath in, taking a really big gulp in of life force, and then with the breath out, driving that life force down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and then down into the earth. And if you can keep that same intention with every breath, just for a few breaths. Remember, breathing in life force, with the breath out, pulling it down through the body, the base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth, giving you a good, deep surface connection to the earth. And generally what people will feel once that life force is flowing down through their feet into the earth, there's normally a recognition within the body of our feet tingling. No, your feet are not falling asleep. It's actually life force flowing down through the feet. Or some people just feel a flow of energy. One more deep breath of that. Pushing it down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and then down through into the earth, just like that classic roots coming out of a tree and anchoring you in the surface of the earth. But knowing that even a tree's energy flows beyond the roots and goes right down to the core of the earth, and that's where we're going next. So with this, to connect with the earth chakra, another deep breath in of life force, and then with the breath out, just driving that life force right down to the core of the earth, knowing that you're connecting with your deepest chakra within your energy system in connection with the earth. And you can't get more anchored into the earth once you've got that earth chakra open. Just using that same technique with every breath until it's flowing. And again, with this chakra, a recognition of when you've connected with it is generally your body starts to feel a little heavier, which is the muscles relaxing. And also, you begin to feel a deeper sense of calm or peace. Just continuing that intention with every breath. Okay. Once you have that, just let that flow of energy settle. It's all running beautifully. Feeling that fullness of that connection to the earth. Also knowing that that life force isn't just going down to that energy, you're also breathing automatically, breathing up earth energy into your system. There's this beautiful flow, ebb and flow of energy that's moving through your system. Okay. Now that you feel nice and anchored, now we're going to go into a more expansive state. But initially, I'd like you to focus on your physical body, just to start with. Feeling, knowing that three-dimensional part of you, which is the most solid, densest part of our energy system. And just as we have an aura that extends beyond our physical, part of our energy system extends within the physical body. So imagine on a completely different dimensional plane of existence that within us, there is a whole universe of energy inside of us. Imagine diving your awareness into that inner universe. And then diving right down through to the core of that inner universe. Feeling that sense of high frequency energy that is deep within us. And there's sayings that, you know, God is within everything. Well, this is the God within us, this high frequency energy that the Creator is. Energy at its most purest form. So once you can access that, once you feel that high frequency, some people might see a ball of energy, a light. Other people may just feel this high frequency energy. It can just be an expansiveness that they feel. Now all we need to do is to allow it to rush out from that central core within us. Imagine it filling that inner universe within our physical, expanding out and eventually connecting with the physical body. And again, an understanding of when that's occurring is most people generally feel a tingling or a warmth of this high frequency energy coming to the surface. So what I'd like you to do now is acknowledge every cell in your body so that that light, that high frequency God force, is connecting with every cell in your body. Beautiful. Now expanding it out beyond your physical to roughly about 5 meters out in all directions, which is roughly the length of a car. Now start to intensify that. Imagine that that ball of energy around you, you can actually fill with more, even more high frequency energy, so that it begins to get a little intense. And it packs a punch when you actually access this God force. There's a lot you can actually do with it to, to heal yourself, to help others to heal, even develop your business. That's another story. So keep intensifying that light that you're drawing up from within your core. Okay, so now that you're holding yourself within this beautiful, crisp, high frequency energy ball, we don't stop there. Our energy system is infinite, limitless. But what we're going to do, we're going to explode this light out in a minute. But what I'd like you to do is tweak it. Just bring an intention into this light as we expand it out. So first part of the intention is to not only expand it out through space, but expand it out through time and space, past, present, and future. But then also any energy that you've taken on from anyone else over the last few days, weeks, months, that's hanging around in your space, creating a heaviness, but knowing that this energy isn't yours, as we explode this light out in a few breaths, you're going to be sending that energy that's not yours back to wherever it came from. All right. So with that intention in mind, taking a deep breath in, accessing that God force and exploding it out with an outward breath. And you can do this more than once. You can do it as many times as you want. And you'll feel your energy system and your body get lighter each time you do it. And one more time. Just for a few seconds, I'd like you just to hold yourself in that space, not do anything, just feel what it's like to be in that clean, high vibrational space. No restrictions, no heaviness, more clarity of thought when it's needed. and just a sense of peace. Okay. So from that, to return, to come back into a nice grounded state, we're going to finish off where we started. So just going back into your breath again, taking a couple of nice deep breaths of life force. Okay, so one big deep breath in of life force. And then with the breath out, just moving it down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth. But this time, go right down to the core of the earth as well. And so then, when you're ready, there's no rush, but you can bring yourself out of that. Just open your eyes when you're ready. Some people just like to stay in that for a while, which I fully understand. So what I always recommend for my clients, and I do this myself, is at least twice a day to be doing that exercise. Now, got to remember that took us maybe about 10 minutes to do, with me guiding you through it in great detail. But once you've done that a few times, the goal is, and generally, look, it takes about 3 weeks to bring in a new habit. And so we want to get that new habit happening fairly quickly, because as the more we do this exercise, the quicker our thought processes work with it, because we understand it then. We understand what we're doing. And but what happens is we should be able to do that in about 4 breaths. That's the goal, which means you can access that anytime. You could be in Foodland and doing your shopping. There could be people around. There could be some heavy energy that you can't pinpoint where it's coming from, and you just want to ground your energy so you're not taking any of that on, and raising the frequency so it doesn't connect with you at all. And so, in 4 breaths, just taking one nice clean breath in, next breath in, taking in life force with the breath out, down through the base chakra, then another breath in of life force, down through to that earth chakra, and then another breath in, but this time going inward, right into that deep universe inside of you, accessing that core star energy, that God force, and then with the breath out, just letting that expand out limitlessly. So that's the goal, is 4 breaths. Then no one can complain about, oh, it takes too long, which I used to get in the early days, when it would kind of take an exercise like that, which I've been refining, believe me, over the years, to get to something that's quick but still powerful. Um, yeah, it may have taken half an hour last, when I first started doing this work, but then these days we can access that energy, and that's partly because of this high frequency that's in. We can access and work with that energy quite fast. So yeah, so there's a lot you can do with that core star energy. I actually teach how to access that for your business, to bring nice, pure intentions into your business, which can help you to um, have better staff and have a better energy that the staff are walking into. It can help with getting new clients. Um, it can help with all kinds of things. So it's very powerful what can be done, and that's just really the beginning of it. So
And I
uh,
really like, Matthew, that at the end you took us back down into that core, into anchor
yes,
ourselves so
mm,
that we aren't just floating around in the heavens, but we're back down and grounded and
that's it. Yeah,
ready to be in life.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
No, that's
interesting because I felt like that core energy within myself was really in my womb, which
oh,
stands to reason for a woman, with the creation of
definitely.
babies and creation of ideas. That's our sacred womb space.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was my go-to.
Makes a lot of sense. Very
Mm,
much. Mm. Because that's the center of our creation.
mm,
Um, it's a very powerful place. And it's probably one of the most damaged parts of our energy system for most people, with um, particularly for women, but also for men. There's there's been a lot of abuse out there over the years. The amount of abuse that goes on in childhood is so underrated, and it's had such an effect on those lower chakras. Um, and but this particularly this raising in frequency and grounding helps um, hugely with bringing your energy back into present time and not just stuck back in that
mm.
reactive time of that wounded child. So and there's a lot of work I do around that if there's issues there. So
No, it's
for people,
understandable. And, quite interesting too that I had my little mini coughing attack, because the
yeah.
throat chakra is also connected to the womb space. And
Ah, yeah.
so that, and I had thought I put myself on mute, but I didn't put my glasses on, so I didn't. So my apologies, but I
Oh,
love how you unwaveringly took us through that meditation despite what was going on for Joan over here. So
that's all right.
wonderful.
What did I say earlier on? Adapt and improvise.
A master at it for sure.
So yeah, so I hope everyone got something out of that, and there's certainly more where that came from. If people need to come and see me for anything, and um, yeah, I'm always here. Um, this is what I do. This is my life.
Until you go to New Zealand. Just say. I mean, I'll just
Yes.
but also people know that they can go to YouTube and listen to this
Yeah.
interview again and go back and listen to this beautiful guided meditation
Yes.
to access your core star energy as
Yes.
often as you need to. But really seriously, folks, think about going and seeing Matthew because you have so many wonderful ways of helping people help themselves through the
Thank
shamanism
you.
and going to the
Thank you.
forest, or you even going to their places, or you just really you're so adaptable, as you say, that
Yeah.
and you're so experienced because you've been doing this such a long time.
And as long as you. House. So yeah, I do house and land clearings. I do my other office is the forest, Mount Crawford Forest, and I take people out there if need be. There's all kinds of beautiful places out there. I take people to. There's a galactic portal out there that is definitely a go-to for many people that are accessing that galactic energy now, galactic communication. Um, yeah, so it's a handy office to go to.
It's beautiful. And I can
Yeah.
speak, well, in the last interview, I spoke about my experience with you at that galactic portal.
Mm, mm,
And yeah, it
yeah.
was the real deal. It was not scary. It was beautiful,
No.
kind, and peaceful, and quite an experience.
And that grounding exercise with the core star opening really helps in communication with galactic beings too. So that's a foundational part of really helping people to communicate with them.
Mm.
Um, it's not just about up here. Our energy needs to be grounded to be powerful up here. So yeah,
Mm. Well, that's how the trees do it,
it
right?
sure
Like
is.
deep
Yes,
roots so they can grow towards the stars.
yes, very much. Yeah.
I also want to speak to, because this video is going to be shorter than the last one,
Mm,
just with those people that say they're too busy so they can um, yeah, access this.
yes.
That Matthew in the next couple of weeks is going to be bringing back his Fireside chats, which are a live chat
Yes.
through his Facebook page and website where you can also ask questions. So Matthew, I'll let you
That's
just
correct.
speak about that briefly.
Okay, so when it was interesting, the timing of all of this, when I first started the Fireside chats, it was right when COVID started. So I was being dragged out of the primal era and brought into 21st century by a beautiful lady who's now in Queensland, Adair Palmer, and she helped me to create this online event that I was basically running, I think, when COVID was on every week. I was just picking a different spiritual subject each week and really just exploring it for an hour. Um, but there was the opportunity there also for people to ask questions, which was fantastic because that always opens up the whole hour very much. Um, and I start to realize I know a lot more than I thought I did because there's a lot of information back here that sometimes it doesn't get accessed for just because it doesn't come up. But
Mm,
yeah, so that's something that I'm going to be bringing back. It is going to be a little spasmodic because I'm traveling over to New Zealand for 7 weeks um, as of early March. But I'd like to get this at least started in February and maybe even able to do it when I'm in New Zealand because it's all online anyway.
mm,
So
mhm.
there's a good chance I'll be able to do at least one, maybe two in New Zealand. And look, I'm more than happy for people to perhaps send me some suggestions of what they would like me to talk about.
Mm.
Um, because there's a lot of different subjects that we can go into. But if you've got something particular, I'm more than happy to bring that up to the surface and extract some of that information from my brain
From
and
the computer?
from
Yeah,
the computer, yes, and then we can get it out in the open and discuss it. So more
yeah,
than happy to
wonderful.
do that. Yeah.
And what's the fee for that?
Oh, well, it was free. There is
Yeah,
no fee.
sorry, I'm just ducking out to the side here to grab something
That's all
else.
right.
That's what I thought. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. A very good, wonderful service of yours.
Yeah, and it works really well in that, particularly when COVID was on, but even now, having a place where you can go to where you're not going to get judged, you can just throw
Mm,
a question at me, and no question is silly.
mm.
There's always a relevance to the question as long as it's relating to what we're talking about, um, and it's important because if someone has a question, generally they're not the only one with the same question. They'll
Mhm.
probably be sharing that same question with a lot of people because there's never any coincidences when there's a group of people online, no matter where they are on the planet.
Yeah.
Um, there's this synchronicity that occurs. So that consciousness of the community of the group is
Mm.
very powerful.
Yeah, the
So
good old group field.
yes,
I
yes,
love it.
yeah.
No, I look forward to that. What night of the week do you think they'll be?
Good question. I used to run it on a Wednesday. That
Mhm.
worked for me quite well.
Yeah.
It's more than likely going to be the same thing, but I'll finalize that in the next week or so, I'm hoping. So,
Mhm.
and I'll get it out there and I'll do a little bit of an intro to that on my Facebook page and share it out and let people know I'll be back into it.
Is it once a month?
I'm thinking maybe just to start with once a week, and then I'll stretch it out to once a fortnight.
Okay, cool.
Um, and once a month is probably a bit too long because, believe it or not, I went for about oh, 14 months um,
Mm.
doing almost every week.
Mhm.
Uh, and that was when the beginning of COVID hit. Um, and I couldn't believe the amount of different subjects we came up with, and that was a lot of that was through suggestions from general public that were listening in.
Well, I might slyly send you the dates because my women's circles are on Wednesday nights.
Oh, are they
And
okay?
I've got 2 a month now with the women's wisdom and the shamanic one. So I might see if we can coincide so I don't miss that.
Well, what about a
If it
Tuesday?
works, yeah.
Maybe
We'll
even a
talk.
Tuesday.
We'll
Yeah, we'll
talk.
talk.
Wonderful. Now, before
So,
we finish, just
yes,
another plug.
yes,
So Matthew is going to be part of a wonderful shamanic drum making
yes.
workshop here at the farm on February 17th and 18th. His is on the Sunday to come and make a 40 or 50 centimeter shamanic drum and beater, which
Mm-hmm.
I've done with him, and it's a wonderful ritual and creative process.
Yes.
And on the Saturday and into the Sunday, Lisa Drury from Geomancing the Stone will be here guiding you to birth a drum. That's an ocean drum. So it's a totally different drum without a beater, but you will also be able to make a rattle the following day with her. So look on the Farm for Being Facebook page for the event on February 17th to 18th and book in because it's going to be a wonderful, amazing, creative,
Mm. It'll
immersed
be
in
fun.
nature weekend. It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
the drums I do are 13-sided drums. And the reason for the 13 sides is to bring in the energy and the information of the Mayan culture. And really, it's not just the Mayan culture, it's a lot of the native cultures all work in sync with nature, which is 13 moon cycles. 12-month calendar is totally out of sync with nature. And what we want to be doing is just bringing our consciousness in, even though we work to a 12-month calendar, to be bringing our bodies and our beings into connection with a 13 um, moon cycle energy. We need to know a little bit of information about that. So we certainly discuss that through the day, and you get the opportunity to write that information on the inside of each panel on the drum. And you've always got it there. Then if you go to a drumming circle and you want to know what the energy is, what you're working with under the full moon, all you got to do is look in the drum.
And
So
can you just briefly speak to the Day of No Time, if I've said that right?
yes, yeah. So in South America, in Brazil, I believe there is a holiday, and it's on the 25th of July. Now, the first moon cycle, um, the first day of the first moon cycle is on the 26th of July. The 25th of July is actually what they call a day out of time, where no one this is in the early days, pre 1300s. This is a day when there would be meditation, no work would be done. There'd be meditation. There would be connection about what your intentions are for the 13 moon cycles, because each moon cycle is like a stepping stone of spiritual growth. And so it's always powerful to have an intention for what your goal is for the culmination of these 13 moon cycles. And so that's what that day out of time is. But in Brazil, they still have a holiday um, in South America for that day because they acknowledge it as being very important.
What's arising for me, Matthew, is a curiosity that how you described it sounds a little bit like a Sunday. So I'm wondering how the word Sunday and the connection to the sun,
Good
if
question.
if there's
It
any relevance there, just be interesting to look into.
it would be, and as much as we've been taken out of sync with nature with the 12-month calendar, the 7 days through what we classify as a week, 7 is still a very spiritual number. So my feeling is there is something there around that. The wording is actually quite important. So
Sounds like another interview or a fireside chat. You know what it's like when you and I get together, we can
yeah, I
talk
know.
forever.
Well, we could do a talk about the 13 moon cycles. So
Yeah. Let's
Give
do
us
it.
a subject, we'll explore it.
Exactly. It sounds
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah. Well, we'll talk. Okay.
we'll talk.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for your time and sharing your wisdom. I so appreciate who you are and who you be on this
Oh,
planet. And
thank you, Joan.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
really
like I said,
wonderful.
it's my life, and I love helping people,
Mm.
and I love working with people that are ready to move, ready to grow.
Yeah. 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 I just got this
So,
vision of a rocket. Phew. Could be.
yeah, well, I think it will
That
be eventually.
energy. Yeah. 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 Energetically speaking. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
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 So thank you very
Yeah.
much again.
Thank you. And yeah, I'll be in touch soon. So
Okay.
I'll just stop recording.
Okie doke. Thanks, Joan.
I'll talk to you in a second.
See you guys.
See you, everyone. Thanks for listening.